The audition video of Courtney Hadwin on America's Got Talent went viral and left a lasting impression. She went from being an introverted teen from a sleepy English town to a global superstar in an instant. Although the public witnessed a rising star, few were privy to the challenges that existed behind the scenes. Rapid fame came with swift retribution in the form of online trolls, school bullying, and financial setbacks. On her journey, Courtney has not had it easy. How did a young woman whose singing voice was years ahead of her time go from becoming an internet sensation to encountering some of the music industry's most formidable challenges? What has become of her? Their words may catch you off guard. The rapid rise to fame of Courtney Hadwin is truly remarkable. Her meteoric climb from obscurity in a small English town to fame is unbelievable, even though her story isn't your typical poor person goes rich tale. Her breakthrough performance was an electrifying audition that took everyone by surprise on America's Got Talent in its 13th season. She was propelled to stardom by this. Hadwin hails from the sleepy northeastern English village of Heselden. Life is simple there, according to Lisa's mom, Anne Marie, since there is just a school, a store, a pub, a park, and a boys' club. Heselden is no longer as bustling as it once was due to a decline in the mining industry. Even before she auditioned for America's Got Talent, Hadwin had a strong desire to pursue music as a career. Although young Connie Talbot's appearance on Britain's Got Talent sparked that ambition, it was a YouTube performance by James Brown that really got her started. Hadwin preferred the music of Aretha Franklin, Janis Joplin, and Otis Redding over that of her peers, who were fans of Ariana Grande, Ed Sheeran, and Katy Perry. Even though she had an interest in pop music, soul music was her true love. She was obviously gifted, but she was also aware that her singing could be improved upon with practice. She spent a pretty penny to get professional instruction. Instead of waiting for an opportunity to present itself, she created one. Hadwin took to the streets in 2016 to fund her voice lessons, busking in England's busiest areas. The money she earned covered her training and her journey, according to her grandpa Tom Story, who informed her later on. Although not everyone was pleased to see her, her performances were well received by those in stores and on the street. Other street artists who were seeing an uptick in their audiences also saw her as a threat, so they would do their best to displace her. However, regardless of one's opinion, when someone makes a statement like that, everyone pays attention. Beginning with local talent shows, Courtney dedicated herself to improving her craft. She was determined to become famous, so it wasn't for fun. A dedicated performer, she reached the finals of Open Mic UK in 2016 with a compelling rendition of Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. In 2015, she wowed Teen Star UK with a powerful performance of David Guetta's Titanium. According to what Courtney's mom told the Hartle Mail, her daughter would complete her homework and then practice all night long after school, until June of 2016. People started to take notice, at least in her neighborhood. Few people at Shotton Hall Academy knew her when she initially enrolled there. Her school, however, later posted a Facebook video of her. She was only 11 years old when word got out that she had a fantastic voice. She performed Christina Aguilera's Say Something and her own compositions, A Great Big World, at an open mic night. Shock spread throughout the room. No one at school believed it was sane. People would stop her in the hallway and compliment her on everything, she said afterwards. In her mind, it was both peculiar and intriguing. She was one of several young singers that year who took part in the Red Dreams One Voice competition. The youngest contestant was 15 years old. By the time the final tally was calculated, she had not only tied, but won. But this wasn't any ordinary event. Before she became famous on television, she was involved with a music charity called Red Dreams. There was another side of her that others noticed as well. An insider at the company said that Courtney was the reserved young woman who interviewers saw. She transformed into an entirely new person the moment she stepped onto the stage, overcoming her fear of the audience and the spotlight. The story told by her grandfather Tom proved it. He claimed that in real life, Courtney was extremely reserved, quiet, and shy. He claimed that something in her lighted up the moment she held a microphone. Singing, she said to herself, gave her much more confidence than speaking, and it was the only way she could truly express herself. Then there was The Voice Kids UK, where she performed an open tryout performance that included both singing and dancing to Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits. I Will I. She piqued his interest to the point that he wanted to see her dance more, so he asked her to perform a portion of it again. She played well because Danny Jones picked her for his squad. She battled Holly Furman and Ebony Green while singing Dancing in the Street during the fight round. Using James Brown's I Got You, I Feel Good as her theme song, she energized the semifinals. In the finals held on July 16, 2017, she sang Dreamgirls and I Am Telling You I'm Not Going with all her might. But her journey came to a close at that point. She had been nominated. Perhaps appearing on The Voice Kids UK would seem like a lifelong ambition fulfilled. But Courtney was bullied, so it was bad for her. After she left the show, people started to hate her online. According to her grandfather's account told to the Daily Mail, she was being insulted and told that she wasn't singing but rather yelling. She found it far more difficult to ignore the bullying she endured at school than the mean things she encountered online. She had a tough time in school, according to The Sun. Because they couldn't cope with the idea that she was going to become famous, some of the kids bullied her. According to the girls she spoke with, the boys teased her for her voice. Despite their cruel words, she refused to let them define her. Concerned about the impact on their daughter, her parents were monitoring her mood closely. Even though it terrified her, Courtney's mom knew she had to be strong for herself if her daughter could persevere through the hate she faced. According to her dad, being an artist means you'll always face critics. In fact, even Ed Sheeran deleted his Twitter account due to the hateful comments. However, Courtney maintained her concentration, resolved to prove her doubters wrong through her achievements. I don't understand. After winning The Voice Kids UK, everyone expected her to compete on Britain's Got Talent. Doing so would have been rational, but Courtney was of a different opinion. She intended to accomplish more. She had previously stated that the reason she chose America's Got Talent was because she greatly admired the acts from the United States. She reasoned that the most prominent platform would be appropriate for her riskiest endeavor. Courtney Hadwin made her America's Got Talent debut in season 13 at the tender age of 13. She appeared terrified as she confronted the enormous audience, the esteemed judges, and the intense lighting. Her timid, reserved demeanor betrayed the gravity of the situation. No one would have it easy, but a little girl about to perform on the greatest stage in the world would have it particularly tough. After that, the judges started asking those uncomfortable questions. The performer's obvious effort to get through them makes it clear they aren't meant to be funny. In preparation, the audience likely thought, okay, this could go either way. When people let their nerves get the best of them, the result is often an unsatisfactory performance. The events that followed, however, were not genuine. An entirely different Courtney emerged as she began to sing her energetic rendition of Hard to Handle by Otis Redding. There was no longer that timid girl. In her stead, a genuine rock star emerged. The judges' reactions became crystal clear the second they realized what was happening. As if she had been performing there for years, she commanded the stage. Could Howie Mandel possibly comment? He couldn't say a word. What Heidi Klum saw shocked her. A change appeared to have taken place. A hysterical mob ensued. In the heat of excitement, onlookers leaped from their seats and applauded enthusiastically. What about Courtney? She felt completely at ease. I couldn't help but think of legendary singers like Janis Joplin and Steven Tyler when I heard her voice. It had that gritty, rough energy, and dare I say, swagger. At last, the moment had come, an insanely high note that caused Howie Mandel to scream in disbelief. America's Got Talent was born to showcase acts like that. Even though everyone else in the audience was in awe, Courtney's grandpa wasn't. He told the Daily Mail that they had always assumed she would have more success in the United States than the United Kingdom. Simon Cowell, who is he? All he could utter was bloody hell. A specter had materialized before him. After the song ended, Howie had a different idea. Simon remarked that her singing sounded feline-like, bringing up the historical moment when Clive Davis discovered Janis Joplin at the Monterey Pop Festival. He started describing it. You know, it was that kind of show when some obscure singer takes the stage and instantly becomes a household name. All it took to land Courtney a record deal was that golden buzzer. At that moment, he was unable to do it, but he had the ability to. Confetti began to fly as soon as his palm touched the ground, sending the audience into a frenzy and cementing Courtney Hadwin's place in AGT lore. Her interview went viral on the internet, drawing in even more viewers than the 11 million who saw it on television. Her show had a week-long viewership of more than 130 million. That figure has surpassed 250 million. She continued to advance in the race thanks to her consistent, wild energy. However, as the season progressed, things became somewhat chaotic. What's stranger still is that Courtney's efforts weren't the issue. The focus was on the show's care for her. Well, it seems like some internet users have noticed a pattern. Every show, with the exception of the finale, had her perform last. Before each of her performances, there would be a short video that boasted about her immense fame, the national attention she was receiving, and the incredible transformation from shy to rock star on stage. Listen, American Got Talent always does this. They invent a contestant's backstory to gain the audience's sympathy. However, in Courtney's case, it led some to question whether the show was exaggerating her story. Is her talent diminished because of that, though? Does that detract from the fact that her acts received millions of views? Is the fact that she was elected by the people therefore no longer true? I highly doubt it. A 14-year-old girl tearing up the stage on one of the most famous stages in the world while performing the music she loved was the central point of all the debate and discussion that ensued online. Ready to prove her worth, Courtney returned to America's Got Talent for the quarterfinals on August 14th. The James Brown song, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, was a huge hit with the audience. It was a complete bust. On September 11, she was already back and destroying Steppenwolf's Born to Be Wild. On September 18, she reached the finals and truly wowed everyone with Tina Turner's River Deep, Mountain High. Her story of being an outsider didn't resonate with everyone despite her wonderful performances. After researching Courtney's background, many AGT viewers realized she wasn't exactly a rookie. Though the internet prevented her from reaching the finals of The Voice Kids UK in 2017, she came close. Some felt that AGT portrayed her as a timid, inexperienced girl who was stepping onto the big stage for the first time, even though she had competed at a high level before. We experienced a social media frenzy. Even though Courtney claimed she had never acted in front of so many people before, she was now a finalist on yet another major show which someone thought was funny. A few people brought up her theatrical endeavors, including her portrayal of young Cosette in a Les Miserables stage production. It was believed by some that the entire shy girl thing was an act. Courtney wasn't the only one who became aroused. All of the judges, but notably Simon Cowell, seemed taken aback by her talent. However, her background was likely known to them throughout. Despite the online buzz, Courtney advanced to the finals on September 19th. On the results show, she and the rock band The Struts sang Piece of My Heart, and she sung it with all. Even though she placed 6th on such a major show, Shin Lim won the grand prize of $1 million. Regardless, it's a victory. Just making it into the top 10 seemed like a huge accomplishment to her. But Courtney didn't go away from AGT empty-handed. Many admirers, including some famous faces, accompanied her as she departed. Sharon Stone, JoJo Siwa, Paloma Faith, Luke Evans, and Stevie Van Zandt were among those rooting for her. Despite her previous experience on The Voice Kids UK, she claimed that AGT was drastically different. The publicity, the production, and the sheer number of attendees all had an air of novelty about them. The end of AGT was also not the end of things. Subsequently, she announced in December 2018 that she had inked a record deal with Arista Records as well as Simon Cowell's Psycho Music label. Because of this, she joined the ranks of artists such as Hadwin Vanderwall, Louis Tomlinson, and Camila Cabello. She received excellent feedback from Simon, who assured her that he would never forget her tryout. He went on to say that everyone was curious to watch her next move. An exceptional talent with a voice and energy that belied her years, Courtney was praised by Arista's head David Macy. Something out of the ordinary always seemed to happen whenever she was in the room, according to what he said. However, she had not finished with AGT just yet. In January of 2019, she returned to America's Got Talent to compete alongside the top acts from the show and others from across the globe. There was no change in her enthusiasm when she stepped onto the stage. Reiterating her unique qualities, she experienced a sensation similar to Janis Joplin. Before the show, she told us that she's always been reserved in social situations, but that when she starts singing, she transforms into someone else entirely. When the music started, she actually demonstrated that. She was unstoppable as she performed her hit single, Pretty Little Thing, again. The fact that she didn't win American Idol the first time around still shocked Simon Cowell and everyone else. Before she started singing, he told her, "When you didn't win, my jaw dropped." After she finished, he praised her performance, calling it her most confident to date and his favorite. Among American Idol's most iconic winners, Courtney stood out once the battle ended. Being recognized as one of the top 50 acts in every one of the 194 countries that have hosted an American Got Talent show is quite an accomplishment. Considering Hadwin was just 14 years old when she performed on America's Got Talent, The Champions, it's hard to believe how impressive she was. Her debut extended play, The Cover Sessions, was released on October 25, 2019. Her talent was evident, and both fans and critics noted that her voice and vibe appeared considerably older than her years. She performed live renditions of popular songs such as Sign of the Times by Harry Styles, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, Sucker by the Jonas Brothers, and Someone You Loved by Louis Capaldi. When asked who influenced her singing, Hadwin listed a long list of artists including Little Richard, Mick Jagger, Janis Joplin, and James Brown. Woodstock 50, a celebration marking the half-century anniversary of the iconic original event, Hadwin on the bill. However, there were many issues with the festival, such as disputes over the location, financial concerns, and the lingering impacts of Woodstock 99. The event had to be canceled because these problems were too big to solve. Live music was inevitably put to rest when COVID-19 arrived. There was a postponement of records, tours, and events. However, he persisted. To break up the monotony of the winter months, she released a cover of John Lennon's Happy Xmas, War is Over on November 20, 2020. That happened in 2020. Even Hadwin's 2021 appearance at the FM4 Frequency Festival was postponed. She also ended her relationship with the record label that had been handling her songs shortly after Simon Cowell's Psycho songs were deactivated. I heard this from her. "Wow," she responded to a fan's remark about Simon on YouTube by changing her attitude. Hadwin had a banner year in 2023, declaring, "It's all me for this one, completely independent. Finally doing it my way." Breaking, a song she co-wrote with producer Kevin Bowe, was her own release on February 24. A little over 1 month after that, on April 7th. That one was followed by That Girl Don't Live Here. After that, on July 28th, she dropped a melancholy single titled Call Me Back. In late September, she dropped her fourth single of the year, Monsters. They incorporated hard rock music with a message regarding mental health. The track peaked at number 19 on Billboard's Hard Rock Digital Song Sales chart, despite the song's depressing subject matter. Hadwin needed to get more done. Christmas Rocks, a high-energy Christmas song with rock influences, was released on November 24, 2023, marking her fifth single of the year. She wasn't moving at a slower pace. Her performance in April 2024 was for Clive Davis at a New York Pops concert. She had already begun her live recordings at Metropolis Studios by October 29, 2024. But what is the actual news? There are indications that her debut full-length album, which is set to be released later this year, will be exceptional. In Minneapolis, Grammy winner Kevin Bowe co-wrote and produced one of the songs, Spellbound, which has a pop-punk vibe. As Hadwin continues to carve out a path for herself, all eyes are on her